Welcome to Out of the Woodwork. I'm Tommy. Thanks for dropping by to build some wood board and batten shutters. This is a really simple project that just about anybody can do. The only tools you need are something to cross-cut wood and then a drill. If you're gonna be mounting these to brick, it's also really handy if you've got a hammer drill. I've got a video on all the different types of drills and how to use them. I'll link that up in the corner. Go check that out after this video. I've also put together a plan with the measurements that I'm using, but it can easily be modified to fit the look you're going for. So check down below for a link to that download. I'm using walnut that I got from the lumber yard, and I'm gonna rip my board and battens to 5 1/4 inches wide. Now you don't have to do that. You don't have to go to the lumber yard. If you just go to Lowe's or Home Depot and get dimensional lumber, this is a 1x6 and it's 5 1/2 inches wide. So it's very close to the measurements in my plan. Or you could get a 1x4, which is actually 3 1/2 inches wide, and use 4 boards instead of 3 like I'm using. There's really a lot of possibilities to modify this plan. The first thing I've got to do is rip the walnut down to the width that I need, and then I'll cross cut it to the length that I need, and then we'll lay those boards together, set the gaps, and that will let us measure how long the battens need to be. I decided to chamfer all the edges, so that meant I had to go ahead and do that and then measure for the batten, since those chamfers bring the edges in just a little bit. The next step is to sand everything down really good. I'm gonna start with 120 and then go to 220. All of this wood is pretty smooth already. I just mainly need to sand out any burn marks in the routed edges and get everything real consistent and smooth. And then I'll attach the battens to the boards with glue and screws, and I'm only putting glue in the areas that come in contact with the boards. And then I'll drive screws up through the bottom of the board into the batten, and it should go without saying, make sure your screws are not too long so that they pop out of the top of the batten. Now that we're finished building these shutters, I'm gonna use a dark walnut stain to make them a little darker and a little richer, and that matches the brick on the house that these are getting installed on. After the stain dries, we need to put a finish on it that protects it from the sun and the UV rays, and also from the rain. Now, I'm using outdoor oil from General Finishes. You can use anything you want. The important thing is to realize that nothing is perfect and nothing will last. There is a maintenance factor to putting wood out in the elements. So as long as when you visually see the finish start to break down, and you will see that, and you clean it off, possibly lightly sand with 120 grit, and then reapply the oil when it needs it, your shutters are gonna last for years. mount the shutters, I'm gonna use these really nice hinges and pintles. Now this is not meant to be a fully functional shutter. It's more of a hybrid between decorative and functional. It's not wide enough to cover the whole window because that looked a little too bulky, but they do have that real shutter look, and these are real hinges, so they will swing. They just aren't meant to be kept closed. And when I attach these, I'm gonna tape the pintle to the hinge and put it up there and mark the placement of the holes. And then we'll remove everything, and I'll use my hammer drill to drill a hole and attach this pintle base with some concrete anchors.